Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Starting with this, the Papago Dashcam. OMG Chad, he's the host of OMG Craft. You can find his Patreon at patreon.com/OMG Chad.
Yep.
And you've reviewed other Papago stuff, or we have.
We've reviewed Papago stuff.
This is a dashboard cam, and I have to tell you, this is a category people are very interested in. First became aware of dashboard cams, of course, because they're heavily used in Russia.
Right.
Nobody trusts anybody. So we've been seeing for the last few years hysterical and sometimes not so hysterical videos of crashes from Russia. And then remember the meteor that hit the lake?
Absolutely.
And there was tons of video because all the Russians had dashboard cams.
Right. And these are just perfect if you want to make sure that you have evidence. Let's say I've seen videos of people pulling out of grocery stores and someone hits them and it's the other person's fault. And then the other person claims, no, it was your fault.
I got video.
But you have video of the whole thing. So it's a really good way to protect yourself.
Insurance companies sometimes will give you a lower rate if you have a dashboard cam. The ones that we first saw in taxi cabs, actually that's where I first saw these, would record all the time, I think.
Yep.
But if there was an accident, they could say, okay, give me the last 30 seconds and save it. How does this work?
So same deal. So on the camera you have a wide-angle lens. On the top you have, this is your power, and you're given a very, very long cable. So this will
That's kind of ugly, but that's going to come out of the cigarette lighter.
Right, and it's so long so that you can take this and run it around the edge of your window, across your glove box, and then into the cigarette lighter. So you can really get it out of the way, and you don't have wires hanging. So that's why they give you so much.
Where do they recommend you put the camera itself?
Just about near your rear view mirror.
So, in fact, if possible, behind it so it doesn't block your view.
Absolutely.
In fact, we should mention that in some states, anything affixed to the windshield is illegal. So check with your local authorities.
Right. So this does have that sensor that you're talking about. If you're in an accident, it has a G sensor. So it'll tell if it was in an accident. I can actually turn this guy on. It has an internal battery, so it will record for a few minutes after you turn the car off. Right, exactly. Which is good because let's say you got pulled over and there was a police officer asked you to turn off your car.
Right.
You'll still get about a minute. You can always reach over and hit, record or here's an incident, and it'll keep going. It's telling me there's no SD card because I pulled it into
so we could look
the
at
computer. Exactly. So along the top you have power. You have the power button, and then this is your emergency button. So if you ever have an incident and you want to make sure it's saved, you hit that, and then it's saved in a different file on the SD card so it doesn't get deleted.
And it's not just saved from this point, it's saved from what, how far
From
back?
the beginning of the clip that it had been taking.
Okay, so that could vary.
It could vary, yeah. So yes, and I had one time when I wish that I had done more, but it was the beginning of the clip.
Yeah.
On the side you have your SD card slot and then an HDMI out, so you can put this onto a television. And then on the other side, nothing, and then you have your buttons along the side. Menus are pretty simple. They'll give you buttons that will change contextually based off of where you are. So if you click into something like this, you can move around, go back. And then on the front, you can mute your mic if you want. You can have it turn off the screen. That's what that icon means. And then I forget what M is. I think it's photo mode. There we go. It switches the mode.
Stills instead of video, I guess.
Right. It switches the mode into that's a mode.
I don't know what to look for in a dashboard cam. What are we looking for?
The cool things about this one is that it has extremely high resolution. The resolution on this.
You've actually got some video we can.
Right here, I could show you some video. Here, let me get you the actual resolution is 2560 by 1080.
Wow. Okay. So it's high def. Video.
Right. So if I was to,
it looks good in low light. That's really good.
Right. So if I go here in actual size, this is actual size. It's actually cutting off the number over here because it's larger than the 1080 video.
Okay.
If I can zoom out here, if
that's all right.
Get the full fit to window, fit to screen. There we go. Why is it not doing that? There it goes. Wide angle, you can see from side to side.
You do want that, right? So you want it because you don't know where that car is going to come from.
You absolutely do, and it's harder to tell because this is video that was taken, and you weren't sitting in the car. But but this is a very far edge from edge to edge.
Is it like the whole windshield practically?
It really is.
Okay.
It really is. And you can also see here's a good example of this turn. You can you can still see the turn before I turn in the edge of the frame. So
this looks good, and I'm amazed at how well it looks considering how dark it is.
Right. So now I have seen other cameras that do sort of a bigger boost in low light. So this is with street lamps and things like that. If I let me close and go to, this is on a road without.
A dark road. Okay.
This is a very dark road. So it's a little bit harder to tell detail on this road, but still, and I from using it and then looking at the video later, I felt like my human eye could see more, which is pretty reasonable considering that this is a kind of a smaller camera.
Just shows you though how good cameras have gotten. You can get an inexpensive camera that frankly looks like CinemaScope.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's pretty amazing.
So here's this is the drive over. I was listening to music, so I'm going to just turn on.
Oh, let's hear the mic. Okay.
Yeah, here's the microphone. It's okay. It's not the best. Are you getting that?
It's good enough to hear. Oh, it's not playing. Pause it. And oh, there it is.
There it is. Okay, yeah. So I was playing some music in the car.
It's not great.
It's not the best. This is actually just on the drive over.
But you could hear you, for instance, scream. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also see, I need to clean my windshield pretty badly, and the sun is directly.
That's something to keep in mind, You got to think about what your
This is a great example of if the sun is directly into the lens, what are you going to see? And you can basically see just about everything
the dirt
you
on the
need
schmutz
to.
on the windshield.
Absolutely. So let me quickly show off the file structure inside of the SD card.
I feel like they're...
Whoops.
We're hearing
What's
Chad
playing?
talking.
Yeah, here. That's
wow.
That was actually something that I wanted to avoid. Was I didn't. There's certain clips because I was absolutely using this. I didn't know what phone call I was on, or if I'm saying my credit card.
Oh my gosh, everything's
whatever.
being recorded.
Exactly. So the file structure is pretty simple. You have your event file. This is whenever you hit that emergency button, it will save this event. This lady was in front of me was jumping out of the car to close her doors, and the file had just switched over, so I actually didn't ever catch that.
Oh, and see, that's not good.
And see, that was
it doesn't
scary.
guarantee you the previous 30 seconds.
It doesn't guarantee you the previous 30 seconds. And then here, there's just this bicyclist who went by, and I thought that was kind of a...
Emergency.
Oh my gosh.
A bicyclist.
Check out this bicyclist.
But had he jumped, had he gotten hit?
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, for day to day, sorry that this review doesn't have a catastrophe, recorded. But this is, normally what you're going to get. Okay, so you can put a 32 gigabyte card into the Papago, and that'll store over 4 hours of footage. From just driving from place to place, I have about 10 days worth of footage before it overwrites.
Look how good that looks.
I know, isn't this great? This is a drive up to Petaluma.
You obviously
from San Francisco.
you got the schmutz off your Windschutz.
Right. Well, the sun is behind me now, so you don't see as much crap on my mirror there. And then I also have one more. There's a few pretty good images that I have. Here's a really dark night. Oh, this was that without. Here's going through a tunnel.
This is kind of cool. I mean, even
neat.
just for shooting footage as you drive,
it's
nice. Kind of neat.
It's really nice, and it's all automatic. So
it saves everything. It sounds
absolutely.
like.
Yes, you plug it in, and it will turn on when
How many hours can it get on the SD?
About 4 to 5 hours on a 32 gigabyte is what I found.
Oh, okay. So you could get a 128 gig SD card.
No, 32 is the limit.
Oh.
32 is the limit.
So 5 hours recording time limit.
Yeah.
And unlike some...
But you can also change the resolution, so you could get more.
Oh, okay.
This is at the highest resolution. So yeah, there's those.
So unlike some dashboard cams where they only record, or in a case of an emergency, or they have like a loop, and then the last 30 seconds gets that. This is really more like just a camera pointed out your window.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then it will. You can hit the event button, and then it'll make sure that it doesn't overwrite the previous recording.
Did you find it distracting? Is it so big that it's distracting to have that in the?
No, not at all. I completely forgot about it.
Like a Canon ELPH. compact camera.
And especially behind your windshield or behind your rear view mirror, you really
and you
don't see
turn
it.
off, I'm sure, the LCD.
Exactly. So some of the settings that I turned on, there's a lot of settings that you can auto configure. And some of the ones that I turned on was that the screen would auto turn off after a while. That the volume, I turned that down. Now, it does also have some features that I really disliked that were turned on by default. Driving safety is by far the worst features that they are touting in this. I can calibrate it here if you want, and you'll see what it wants you to do is point this at the road so that it lines up with the horizon and the stripes, and there you go, it shows up. So you can line this up. When it's in your car, it makes a lot more sense that you're lining up with the horizon and the stripes on the road. What this does is it will look for brake lights. It will look for how the sun, if the sun is setting, if you've been driving for too long, and that sounds really great on paper, but in practice, all it does is send you this annoying barrage of beeps. It doesn't any voice, so you just have to know that triple beep is the car in front of you. Brake lights have turned off, so you should look forward. So it's sort of a safety of if you were at a stoplight.
If you're at a green light, red light.
You're at a red light and the car, but you're at so many red lights. The thing is
beeping a lot.
It's insane.
But you can turn that off.
You can turn that off, but it's also very confusing for the consumer. For me,
why is it beeping like crazy?
I had to go figure out why the heck was this thing beeping every 30 seconds. And then it has a fatigue alarm.
How does it know if you're fatigued?
Basically, if it's been on for over 2 hours,
you've been driving for a
you've
while.
been driving for too long, and then it'll tell you, it'll give you a little icon.
It's not like it's going to wake you up if your head hits the steering wheel.
No, it won't. It won't notice that you're drifting out of lanes or anything like that. So those were some features that they tout, which I really disliked. And let me think if there was anything else. That about it. So for the pros, I really like the high resolution of the sensor. I also really liked the wide angle lens, and I liked the continuous recording that it would overwrite a file. For the cons, there's no way to turn off the chime when it turns on. The chimes are basically a really big con. And then all the driver fatigue stuff I really found difficult when I was first setting up I had to basically go in and change all sorts of menus. So the start of using this wasn't all that great. This cost about $230.
Okay.
That is MSRP, but I found it for $213 online. Not a lot of a discount. There are less expensive cameras on the market, but I do like a lot of the features that the Papago camera has. So buy, try, don't buy for the Papago. This is the GoSafe 520 camera. I'm going to give this a buy.
Okay.
I didn't find anything wrong with it, so I'd recommend it if this is in your price range and these are the features that you want.
The only thing that concerns me at all is that it's recording clips, and if the accident should occur after the start of a new clip, you've lost the video. You don't have that video. All right. A buy on the Papago Dashcam, the 520.